It was an often overlooked practice under the Franco dictatorship in Spain, but it outlived his death and continued up until the 1990s. It is the stealing of babies. Last month, one gynaecologist went on trial accused of forging birth certs and effectively giving newborns away to other women. Eduardo Vela denies any wrongdoing. He is just one of a number of doctors, nurses, nuns and priests accused of the sinister practice. Mothers were told their babies had died shortly after birth, a story some found impossible to believe, but it was years before their doubts were proven to be true. Well, let's cross now live to Spain to speak with Dr Aranzazu Borrachero Mendivil, who's currently on an academic fellowship to Madrid, to expand your research on the issue. Dr Borrachero Mendivil, thanks so much for your time. Now, I believe since 2012, you've been working on a website getting direct witness testimony from women who believe their babies were stolen. What have they been telling you?
Well, actually, 2012 was when I began another project, which was interviews from daughters of democracy, mothers of the dictatorship. The testimonies that I have been collecting about the stolen babies case, we began doing that in 2015. And what they have been telling us, basically, is that there's been a systematic practice of abducting babies from the moment that they're born in the hospital, and that this practice has probably extended over a period of 40 years.
There were some examples of women saying that they've tried to, to go back and trace where their babies may have been taken, but that the records had disappeared. There seems to be a very deliberate practice of hiding the whole practice right throughout the hospital and justice system.
Yes. When the victims, and I'm using the term victim in an ample way, a victim in this case could be a mother or a sibling that is searching for another sister or brother, a father. When a victim begins the search process, they first go to an association, and the associations are now prepared to train them in the steps that they have to take. So they begin basically a rosary of visits to different registry offices, administrative hospital offices, civil registry offices, and they begin requesting documentation of the birth and the death, the supposed death of the baby. And what they find most of the time is that either these offices are reluctant to provide documentation, or when they do, they find that there are contradictions among documents, gaps of information on documents. Sometimes they're told that the documents are not found because there was a flood, there was a fire, boxes have disappeared. So this is what the victims are going through, and what they say is that what they are actually engaging in is something that the courts and judges should do, which is demanding, these offices to open the registries, their files, and providing and facilitating these documents to them.
Any idea why the justice system isn't looking into these cases?
Well, that's a question that has different answers. One of them is that there are two interpretations of the law right now. The Attorney General issued a statement that says that the statute of limitations for illegal detentions, which we should understand in this case to be babies' abductions, does not begin ticking until the victim finds that she or he has a false identity. However, this statement is not binding, so the local courts have some discretion. Some local courts, like the one in Madrid, and that's why we have Vela's trial going on, they have decided that, yes, they want to abide by that statement issued by the Attorney General. But there are other local courts that are not abiding by this interpretation of the statute of limitations, and therefore are closing the complaints.
Sounds like a lot.
That's one answer. There are other answers too. One important factor to consider here is that the state apparatus that was involved in the babies' abductions is comprised of doctors and religious orders that are well connected with political powers. So
Indeed.
it would entail to rock a system that's
yeah, indeed, have a lot of authority in that country. Dr. Borrachero Mendivil, we're going to have to leave it there, but thanks so much for your time and giving us an idea of how people go about trying to research their loved ones and where they are left with the authorities. Dr. Borrachero Mendivil speaking live to us there from Spain.